Hello everyone. Today I'll be reviewing Mike Mignola's Hellboy. For those of you who read comics, you perhaps know Hellboy, or maybe you have seen the movies. They're extremely good, and Hellboy is one of the best series, voted to be one of the best series in the world in terms of content and original creativity and the artwork. So these are basically the 6 volumes from 1 to 6. These constitute the whole of Hellboy, and besides this there are a lot of other series that Mignola has done, like BPRD, which comprises the other members except Hellboy, who are in the supernatural US supernatural division. And then there are other series like Ape Sapiens and so on. So this is the canon Hellboy, and let's start off with volume 1. So this is volume 1, and Hellboy comes as trade paperbacks and as obviously as single volumes and single issues. And this is the library edition of Hellboy, volume 1 to 6, and basically these represent some of the best quality books ever made in the world in terms of good quality comics. So these are absolutely gold quality in terms of the binding and the pages, the quality. It screams quality, to be frank. So as you can see here, I don't know if it's very focused, but these are all library bindings and not the fake library bindings that most publishers do. Dark Horse has done so these are Dark Horse books. Dark Horse has done a excellent job with these books. They comprise volume 1 to 6, and they're gorgeous, to be frank. So you can see in the spine, these are gold lettered. There's a skull, it says Mike Mignola Hellboy volume 1, and then Dark Horse books. And in the front it says so each of the books comprise of 2 TPBs. This one contains the Seed of Destruction, Wake the Devil. It says Mike Mignola with John Byrne. So let me just open this up. Yeah. So I'll be holding this in hand, so this might be a little shaky. So that's volume 1. I have already reviewed volume 1, so I'll just be skipping through this in one of my earlier videos, which comprises just volume 1. So this is, you can refer to that if you want detailed commentary on what the volume 1 comprises of. So yeah, let's skip ahead to volume 2. So this one comprises of volume 2, and The Chain Coffin and the Right Hand of Doom by Mike Mignola. Let's open it up. It says volume 2. So if you have ever read Hellboy, you'll know that the artwork is uniquely different for Hellboy compared to most other comics. And then at the very end there is an afterword, so which has story notes. Besides the stories, obviously the stories are, here you can see one of the pages. Yeah, so it's gorgeous artwork. The pages are, it's like glossy, but very good quality glossy, not the cheap variety, I would say. And then there are black pages in between, and then it comes to the afterword. So there are story notes, as you can see, story notes on almost everything that Mignola has done in order to make this into a reality. There are sketches, initial sketches of his artwork, beautiful. And then it says at the very end, I'm pretty sure all these troll looking guys were in part of the Dark and Terrible. Was there another miniseries I was planning that I now don't remember? So I sort of doubt it. I think I was just goofing around, just having fun drawing trolls. Mike Mignola, somewhere in Southern California. So yeah, and it ends on the same orangish color background, and that ends volume 2. Going ahead to volume 3. My god, these are pretty heavy. I mean, each is easily about a kilo or maybe even more. I'd say 1.5 kilos maybe. So yeah, I think that gives it a contrast. So this is volume 3, Conquer Warm and Strange Places. The introduction to the library edition. So there's a special introduction here. Those of you who want to read it can maybe pause it and go through this. Yeah. So anyways, and so these are chapters, of course, of the books themselves. Trademark Mignola artwork. I've seen quite a few people who do not like Hellboy artwork, but then I guess it's like an acquired taste. So these are unused pages, pages that were not introduced in the final book, but were drawn nonetheless. And these give some very interesting perspectives to the story. I've already read them, so I can tell you. It doesn't really change the story, but it gives a very interesting perspective to what might have happened. A little twist somewhere here and there. And these are the initial sketches that were done. They are gorgeous, and you can see pencil sketches, initial level. I'm not an artist, so I'm not very qualified to speak on this, but anyway, so as I was saying, so I have met quite a few people from my friend circle who do not like Mignola art, but then I guess it grows on you. It's more like a matured artwork that you learn to appreciate over time. And frankly, I love Mignola's artwork, and I think this is one of the best way to collect Hellboy, the library editions I mean. So the same orange back cover, and then it ends. That was volume 3. We go on to volume 4. So that is volume 4, as you can see. And if you'll notice, these are like there's a slight depression here, and these are like postcards that are pasted on these depressions, well centered, so that you get a feeling of quality from them. And So this one comprises of the Crooked Man and the Troll Witch. Open it up. Same orangish cover, and there's a foreword by Gahan Wilson. Don't know if it's very clear. I don't think it's focusing well on the letters per se. Just open it up. You'll see that the artwork here is very different, very realistic, and the color is very vibrant. And this one is starkly different from the earlier volumes in terms of the artwork, but then it retains the proprietary Mignola touch but becomes more modern in a sense. The shadows are more pronounced, and it's different. I have not gone till volume 4, so I plan to finish the last 3 volumes this time when I'm on holiday at home. So these books are basically kept at my home, and I do not get much time away from my PhD to come home and read them. And so there should be an afterword which talks about everything. Story notes, not an afterword in this one, I guess. Yeah, there is an afterword. Yeah, so there's an afterword, and then there are story notes. These notes were you can read them by Mignola when the stories were first collected in Crooked Man and others. So it collects everything that you could basically get from TPBs and initial single issues and everything. So you'll see the artwork changes from volume 3 to 4, and it's quite apparent for people who have read at least the initial a few volumes of Hellboy, the initial volumes, I mean. So you see here it says more monkeys, some not so cute, and then there are more sketches, and wow, that's a charcoal sketch and it looks beautiful. And then, well, it ends with the same orange back cover. Now coming to volume 5. This is the thickest one of the lot. Volume 5 and 6, you will see the thickness comparison. I think maybe 5 is a little thicker than volume 6. So this is volume 5. Let me just give it some contrast. Shadow is, yeah. So this one comprises of Darkness Calls and The Wild Hunt by Mignola and Duncan Figueredo. Okay, the last one was by Mignola and Richard Corbin and others. So this one is by Duncan Figueredo and Mignola. It up. So there's an introduction by Jane Yolin, and there's a gorgeous artwork of a puppeteer. That's Baba Yaga, I think. Maybe, I'm not very sure. I've not yet read this one. So let's open it up. So it says, for Duncan Figueredo, for taking over some of the heavy lifting and not a second too soon, Mike Mignola. Begins with a prologue, which is the mole. Wow, that's one nasty mole. Okay, anyways, and this I think changes again. The artwork changes a little from volume 4. The artwork is a little towards the original Hellboy artwork. The use of shadows in these books, the darker colors, muted shades, I love them. I mean, they portray exactly the kind of world that you'd expect from the Hellboy series. I'm pretty sure this is Baba Yaga, so she was in the earlier volumes as well. And this is, no, it's still the first book in this. I mean, first one, I've forgotten the name. Crooked Man? What's it? Darkness Calls. So I think this is still Darkness Calls, and then this is where it ends. No, this is chapter 4. Okay, I have no idea where one book ends and the other begins, but the artwork is, oh well. I guess I'm repeating myself too much. And so on and so forth. There's a blacksmith, dwarf maybe. That's Hellboy with his full-grown horns, and afterward and like every other, there's a sketchbook with notes from the artists. And this is a treat. I mean, in the library edition you get so much extra content that I think it more than makes up for the cost that you pay for it. And not to mention the quality of the book itself. The content also is extremely vibrant and worth the price that you pay for it. I mean, the library editions of course are much more costly in comparison to the TPBs, but if you can afford it, this is definitely the way to go and collect Hellboy. I mean, there can be no better way. The extra content, I would say, alone makes it worth the price. And when you compare it in comparison to everything else with the extra content, I'd say it's worth it. Alice. I'd say there, for example, the notes are very interesting as well. So Alice didn't change that much beyond these initial sketches. She's a lot older than she appears, so I wanted a timeless quality to the way she dressed, with just a hint of the modern world. And then there are handwritten notes as well. So Duncan, this design isn't really there yet. I like the helmet with the horns coming from the eye sockets, but the rest, but the rest, see what you can do. I want him to feel like he'd weigh a ton, and I don't want suit of armor joints. It's not a suit really, more like a sculpted or forged iron skin. So yeah, and then there are, I think, so there's a dialogue between Mignola and what was his name again? Ford, I think. Fegredo, yeah, Duncan Fegredo. So he is the illustrator for this one. And that ends in the same cover. And then going to the last one, volume 6. Just prop this up a little, that'll be easier for you guys to see it. Yeah, so that's volume 6 by again Duncan Fegredo, Corbin, Nolan and Hampton. Storm and the Fury and the Bride of Hell. So Hellboy volume 6. Let's open this up. This side, yeah. So say colored by Dave Stewart, lettered by Clem Robbins, introduction by Glenn David Gould and edited by Scott Alley. Well, this artwork is like volume 5. It's done by the same artist, Fegredo, so I really like the artwork. So this one ends the Hellboy series, and then I think it continues in Hellboy in Hell, but Hellboy in Hell has not yet released all the TPBs in library edition form yet. I think there's volume 1 and maybe volume 2, I'm not very sure of it, but oh, look at this. This is a very interesting panel which has a different kind of artwork as compared to the previous ones. Very refined kind of artwork, if you must. Although that's primarily my opinion. Artwork changes. And then continuing, so let's get till the end. So there's should be an afterword. So this is the last page of the Hellboy series, which I have no idea what it says since I have not read the book. And then there should be an afternote, right? Okay, there's no afterword, but it continues with the story notes. And then there are the sketches. So yeah, that's about it. At the very end there are a few 3D drawings as well, and Hellboy black and white and the color reproduction. And yeah, so that's it. Lovely artwork though. So that's the end of Hellboy. If you have any comments, any questions, you may ask those in the comment section. And what else? Yeah, well, that's it. Happy reading.